dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYNT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Yesterday morning, a crash in Hazard on Highway 15 near Applebee's left two Hazard boys, Hunter Gross and Gavin Fields, dead, and John Max Slover severely injured. Tonight, friends and family gathered at Hazard High School for a candlelight vigil and service. WYMT's Emily Bennett was there, and she joins us now live from the high school. Emily?
Steve, the love for Gavin Fields and Hunter Gross was very evident tonight, as this field here behind me was full of his other family and friends. Now, Hazard Principal Happy Mabellini said that this is the first step in the grieving process, but also the first step in their healing process.
Just looking out at this field, we know that we care deeply about each and every student.
A community gathering as one to mourn the loss of two of their own.
I love them.
The loss reminding everyone life is precious.
This is especially difficult when we've got two young men early in their lives, that lost their lives.
Pastor Tim Reynolds spoke to family and friends, telling them it is okay to grieve.
So if you feel like crying, it's okay. You're not weak. That's just what God has designed us to do, to mourn during times of intense loss.
But to also rejoice in their friendship and joy they brought to the community.
We need to enjoy life. We need to have a fulfilling life.
And as the Hazard Bulldog prayer says, dear Lord, the battles we go through in life.
This is one of those battles that you're going to go through in life.
In the sky, and I hope you're singing in the angels' choir.
Now, one boy did survive the crash, John Max Slover. Now, he is in the hospital, but I am told that he is doing better. Now, he's still on a ventilator, but they say he is responding, and they do hope to have him off the vent tomorrow. Steve?
A bit of good news. Hazard High School, a very special place, somewhere I graduated from 25 years ago today. Great community. Emily, thank you. It is day 5 in the search for Tyler Russell, a 22-year-old Hazard native who went missing while swimming in Laurel Lake on Saturday afternoon. The search continues near the Laurel-Whitley County line. Russell was swept away when water was released by the spillway. Today, his mother, Jan Cottle, and wife, Danielle Russell, both talked to us for the first time. As they remember Tyler's smile, stubbornness, and adventurous spirit, they say something inside them says he is still out there and ready to come home.
It kind of feels like one of those times, he's just going to check something out and he's going to come walking up here in a few minutes and, I'm going to be like, took you long enough. When we sit down,
see something move,
we face the woods.
Tyler's mother says do not pray for them, but pray for Tyler while he is still out there, no matter the outcome. A shooting in Perry County overnight killed one man. We've learned 46-year-old Johnny Newman died from multiple gunshot wounds. People who live in the Jeff community say they heard the gunshots close to 1 a.m. Several law enforcement agencies were on the scene. In talking to the coroner, we learned that the gunshot wounds were not self-inflicted. One man who lives right across the street says this area is not quiet.
I would love to sit here and say what everybody always says, that it's just such a quiet community and we never thought it was going to happen, but we were literally sitting on our porch Wednesday night with a church group talking about how there's a lot of traffic through here through the night, and it just felt like something was eventually going to pop off, and unfortunately it did last night.
No arrests have been made. Governor Beshear announced 69 new coronavirus cases today in Kentucky, but the governor says a backlog in reporting to a federal system has probably made that number lower than it should be. He says likely tomorrow we'll see more cases that should have been reported today. Right now, Kentucky is nearing 12,000 cases, and we've lost nearly 500 people, with 9 more deaths since yesterday. Several new cases were reported by health departments across eastern Kentucky today, including a 6-year-old in Johnson County that is asymptomatic. Daycares are beginning to reopen across Kentucky. In-home centers with 12 or fewer students were allowed to open on Monday, and starting next week, bigger facilities will be opening its doors. But as Kristen Kennedy found out, some are having a hard time getting ready. She explains what's next in the scramble to keep your children safe.
We will remove all soft toys, play foods, pillows, dress-up clothing.
Child care centers across Kentucky are going to look a little different next week.
Our older classrooms, we will be dividing and changing the space.
Mindy Tolles is the executive director of the Child Development Center of the Bluegrass.
Here is an example of one of the masks our teachers will be wearing. They're clear views so that the children can see not only expressions, but speech and language development, which is really important at the infant, toddler, and preschool age.
We're pretty sure that children are used to the mask by now.
Charlene Markham runs the Gingerbread Academy.
It may take us a couple of weeks to get on our feet to get that cycle going where children are learning, but it can be done. We just have to really work at it.
That work wasn't possible earlier this year. In mid-March, coronavirus shut down the state. Non-essential businesses closed, and with them, most every child care provider. Then in late May, we started seeing businesses open back up. Child care centers, they stayed shut. The governor waited, then released new guidelines, including a cap on classroom sizes.
We're getting lots of questions about large classrooms broken up into groups of 10 and what that looks like, what do walls look like, what's traffic flow look like to bathrooms. So there's not one answer across the board for every facility. They're all trying to figure this out.
Bradley Stevenson works for the Child Care Council of Kentucky, and he says next week, when centers finally do reopen, they're going to be different.
You're saying this will be different. Will it be detrimental?
It could be. I mean, there will be some child care facilities. We know that some child care facilities are not going to reopen, at least on June the 15th.
We've had to change our staffing where some staff are not working full-time. They're working part-time. Some are working split weeks, 2 days 1 week, 3 days the next.
While most providers, Markham included, closed up an office.
This is the state that my playroom has been in since.
Marie Phillips,
we closed.
Sealed up a living room. She runs Elna's Angels out of her North Lexington home.
And that's been so devastating for me. I walk in here every day and it's like, it's so sad. I want to hear them laugh and I want to hear them play. We haven't been able to do that.
The biggest challenge for an in-home provider, Phillips says, is finding supplies.
Paper towels. I mean, toilet paper. For the love of Jesus, we still can't find toilet paper very much. We're always really good about health, safety, and sanitation in our program. That's probably one of my top things for our program, but this has been catastrophic.
Phillips isn't even opening her in-home daycare this week. She's waiting until June 22nd.
I'm not ready. We're not ready. The whole house has to be cleaned. I mean, we're talking top to bottom spring cleaning like you've never seen it before. I think we're going to end up hiring a cleaning crew to come in and help us because it's just too much. I mean, we live here, you know? I have dogs, I have cats, I have kids, I have a husband.
Even daycares with a full faculty are spending a lot of their time right now sanitizing.
We are going through our attic and pulling out things that we've used, donating some things, but really creating new classroom and spaces within the building so children have safe places to spread out.
These women do worry about their finances, their health, and their students' health.
It's been hard, and it's not just me. It's all of us daycare providers, you know. This is our livelihood. We don't do this for money. We do this for these kids.
Right now, hope outweighs fear. They want to see their students swinging and sliding and smiling again soon.
Parents need childcare.
Kristen Kennedy.
Children need to be in a learning environment. They need structure, and they want to learn.
WKYT.
The current guidelines for child care centers are considered temporary, but it's not clear how long they could be in place. Mask wearing and limited classroom size are expected to remain in place through the pandemic.
Well,
Well, we saw lots of sunshine today after kind of a gloomier day yesterday. We saw those scattered showers and strong thunderstorms move through. The cold front moved through, and that's what brought us some nice weather for today. We'll go and take you up to a few of those cameras. That National Weather Service camera in Jackson started out with some clouds earlier in the day. Saw a few of those stick around, but most of those have been clearing out throughout the evening hours. We saw a gorgeous sunset a little bit earlier as well. Looking over into Whitesburg now, clear skies. So if you go outside, you can see plenty of stars out there. 60 degrees, so a little bit cooler than what we've been experiencing the past couple of nights, but feeling very comfortable out there. A little bit chilly when I went out for dinner earlier. It was a little bit on the cooler side, but overall not too bad. Kind of seeing a wide range of temperatures right now. Upper 60s, lower 70s if you're looking in Jackson. Pikeville, mid-60s over into Prestonsburg. However, if you look from Hazard down to Harlan and Williamsburg, we're closer to the upper 50s to lower 60s. So those valleys are a little bit cooler this evening and could see kind of that different temperature gradient heading throughout the night tonight. So temperatures expected to drop into about the mid to upper 50s tonight. I think some of us might even drop into the lower 50s. We'll kind of keep an eye on that, but we will continue to see those mostly clear skies, and those clear skies continue heading into tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine continues for your Friday. Cooler temperatures also continue, and we'll be on a dry trend heading into the next several days. I'll have a look at that weekend forecast coming up in a little bit.
All right, thank you, Paige. President Trump led a roundtable on police reform in Dallas, saying he's working on an executive order on law enforcement. CBS's Skylar Henry reports from the White House.
President Trump met with community leaders in Dallas to discuss race relations and law enforcement.
We have to respect our police. We have to take care of our police. They're protecting us.
The president addressed recent calls to defund or, in some cases, dismantle police departments.
I'm thinking, what happens late at night when you make that call to 911 and there's nobody there?
President Trump said he will sign an executive order related to the use of force, but not a commitment to comprehensive police reform following the brutal death of George Floyd. Joe Biden compared Floyd's death to the murder of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
But even Dr. King's assassination did not have the worldwide impact that George Floyd's death did.
It was a mistake that I've learned from.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, broke with President Trump Thursday after accompanying him on a walk to a church where he posed with a Bible in hand.
My presence in that moment and in that environment created a perception of the military involved in domestic politics.
The administration received criticism after federal officers used tear gas to clear protesters ahead of that walk. On Thursday, workers took down extra White House security fencing after days of protest. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The Dallas police chief, sheriff, and district attorney, all of whom are African American, were not invited to the event featuring President Trump. A vote tomorrow could decide if the statue of Confederacy President Jefferson Davis will be removed from the Capitol Rotunda. Governor Beshear expects the Historic Properties Advisory Commission to approve its removal. During his afternoon update, the governor says if it's approved, his staff will work quickly to take the statue out of the rotunda. Republican Senator Chris McDaniel pre-filed a bill that would move the statue to the History Center of Jefferson Davis State Park. The bill also calls for a new monument to be put in the rotunda. Now to California, where police say the man accused of ambushing one San Luis Obispo sheriff's deputy and later injuring several others in a shootout is dead. The ambush happened early yesterday morning when the deputy was shot in the head while responding to gunfire at his station. The manhunt ended earlier tonight in gunfire. The suspect's father told reporters that the man suffered from mental illness and did not take his medication. Back here in eastern Kentucky, Pikeville's fire department added a new training unit to its facility, giving it the capability to train in an active fire situation. The 3-unit structure will provide a hands-on firefighting experience, which officials say will more adequately prepare the first responders for answering a call. But is not only about training to put out the fire, it's about the situational advantages that come with the burn unit.
Our firefighters are going to be able to train on fire hose advancement, search and rescue techniques. Hopefully, we're going to apply later down the road for more props to be able to add it on to it.
Case says other departments in the county will also be training there. As the June 23rd primary election nears, the deadline to request an absentee ballot is June 15th. Nearly 2,700 people in Perry County have requested an absentee ballot. That ballot has to be postmarked or delivered to the clerk's office by Election Day. Secretary of State Michael Adams says county clerks have 1 week after the election to report their vote totals.
One reason they haven't received them, some of our materials have been going to other counties. So we have to wait for it to get sent back to us. And a lot of the other clerks have been having the same problems.
Adams says the sooner people mail back their ballots, the sooner they will get counted and have final results for races. We'll be right back.